The devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy.
Deep from the bowels of the Macabre Theater Laboratory, we bring you Macabre Cast. Doc Mark and Karis, the Little Mummy, here to bring you another episode of Macabre Cast, where we'll be dropping R's where they belong and adding them where they don't. Hello, Karis. Newbies welcome, regulars welcome back, and worshippers, get out of here. There is nothing wrong with your YouTube dial. You are exactly where you should be. The slush puppy machine is on. The latest issue of Werewolf by Night has just hit newsstands. You, my friend, have found the world of Macabre Cast. If all goes right with the world and they can just hold off on the nukes, April 7th will be the 100th episode. No excuses. If you are a regular, you should say something. If you've never left a voice message, this is your sign from the Almighty to do so. It's episode 100. I never thought we'd see that day, but April 7th is epic episode 100.
Hey, Doc, if you're done lollygagging, I've got a joke. Did you hear that they found Beethoven in the graveyard? Guess what he was doing?
No, Karis, do tell. They found Beethoven in a graveyard? What was he doing? Gee, I don't know. What was he doing?
Decomposing?
You know, Karis, I'm pretty sure you told this joke before, and I know that you're kind of old and forgetful. Well, you're actually 3,000 years old. I'm surprised you have any brain left. And on that note, it's time for horror news.
Wait, what? I did no brain.
She said, open only the strong shall spray. She said, but I'm feeling quite weak. She said,
Dario Argento's 1985 classic Phenomena, or as it was released severely edited in the U.S. as Creepers, is being adapted into a series by Titanus Productions. The long-form series promises to bring new life to the original narrative. In 1981, a movie titled Great White about a giant shark terrorizing a beach community was released to theaters. I, of course, managed to see this putrid gem twice before Steven Spielberg had it pulled. It circulated the black market on bootleg VHS and DVD, which I own, for years. The title had been changed to The Last Shark. Well, here we are in 2025, and it's getting a Blu-ray release. I guess Steven Spielberg gave up the fight. You never had anything to worry about, Steven. This film is a true poo parade. But it's still a hoot to watch. A sequel to Godzilla -1 is in the works, and we can only hope they don't ruin such a good thing. The newest camp slasher is headed to theaters this April in a film called Marshmallow. A trailer is available as we speak. This week, March 7th, The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs will make its premiere live on Shudder. Despite what was reported before, the creators of Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers, said, after season 5, you will never see these characters again. No spin-off shows. And that's it for horror news.
she said,
And Brownie agrees. Brownie, the corpse-sniffing dog.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
So I happened to just catch a movie that just came out in 2024 called Little Bites. This is streaming on Shudder as we speak. This is written and directed by Spider-One. Spider-One is Rob Zombie's brother, which I did not know that as I was watching this. You know, and that makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. But, you know, Rob, please, let your bro write the scripts. You know, he manages to pull it off without the overuse of the F-bomb, because that's what's dragging your pictures down. Just saying. The lack of intelligence in the dialogue, basically. This was also executive produced by Cher, which I thought was kind of weird. But anyway, something is living in this woman's darkened room, or a darkened room in this woman's house named Mindy. Her name is Mindy. And in order to keep it away from her daughter, she allows this wretched thing to feed off of her, little by little, basically eating Mindy alive. Barbara Crampton plays a social worker from Child Protective Services, and don't blink or you'll miss Heather Lampkin as a possible victim of a similar situation. And she inspires Mindy. This wasn't the best or the scariest film I've seen this year, but I enjoyed it. Solid acting, well executed. Dark Mark recommends Little Bites.
Oh boy, are you hearing what I'm hearing? This is the only monster kid in the Drac Pack that's got 2 theme songs. Horror Chat Matt.
Hey, Dark Mark, Little Karis, and all the monster kids hanging out at the Macabre there. It's Horror Chat Matt checking in. Dark, I cannot tell you how glad I was to hear you say that you are not a fan of Chopping Mall. I am not a fan of that movie at all myself. It's one of those ones I don't understand why people are so into it. Different strokes for different folks. I get all that. And I usually chalk up people really liking a movie of this caliber to having seen it when they were a kid and have fond memories and nostalgia for it. But I got news for you. Young Horror Chat saw this one as a kid myself, and I hated it back then. And I just recently watched it for the first time in many, many years on Joe Bob Briggs' Last Drive-In, and I still hate it to this day. Just a total dud in my eyes and really overrated. And another classic from that time, and I use the term loosely, is Night of the Comet. That's one that you would think would be right up a young Hard Chat's alley, with, teenagers waking up at the end of the world, finding out they're some of the only survivors, no adults around, getting to do whatever you want, no rules, fighting zombies, taking on evil scientists. But yeah, I watched this thing and I hated it. I was really hoping a comet would come down and smash my VCR. And I have watched it again recently, and I still have the same feelings for it. I'm curious what your thoughts are on Night of the Comet, Dark. And you had asked me if I had purposely left The Shining off of my wintertime horror movie top 3 list, and the answer to that is 100% true. As far as I'm concerned, much like our favorite movie, Jaws, some movies just don't need to be in a category, and The Shining is one of them for me. Yeah, you can say it's horror, you can say it's this, you can say it's that, but at the end of the day, it's just one of the greatest movies made of all time, much like Jaws, and I don't want to put it into a category other than greatest films of all time. And that's got me wondering, Dark, I may get kicked out of the theater for this question, but, we're so close to 100 episodes. I'm hoping you'll give me a little leniency here with this question. But what are some of your favorite non-horror, sci-fi, and macabre movies that you really enjoy? For myself, real quick, top 3, in no particular order: The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Full Metal Jacket, and A Christmas Story. So I'm a little bit all over the place there. But yeah, those are 3 of my favorite non-horror, macabre, and sci-fi movies. And I'm curious to hear the lighter side of Dark Mark. If I'm allowed back next week, I can't wait to hear your answers. And as always, make mine Macabrecast.
Okay, so in case you're wondering how Chopping Mall ended up on Horrible Mention, just last week, I find on the floor a DVD, a copy, a bought copy of Chopping Mall. It's upside. I turn it around. I said to my son, what is this? He says, oh, Chopping Mall. I said, I know that. I said, have you ever seen this movie before? And he says, no. I said, this movie is putrid. And he laughed. He said, well, that's why my friend let me borrow it. He said it's really bad. That's why I wanted to see it. I said, no, it's really bad. I said, good luck. Have fun with that. So it brought a lot of putrid memories back, and that's how it ended up on Horrible Mention. And then you mentioned Night of the Comet, and I'm thinking how I liked this movie and was going to go into a whole spiel and realized I was thinking of Night of the Creeps, so never mind. If occasionally you hear screaming going on in the background, there's not a murder being committed here. Supposedly, those are little kids outside of the lab, and then you know what? They're really not kids. They're banshees and savages, and this is all they want. How can you just scream constantly? I'm just, is it the age? I don't know, but please, I apologize. And as far as The Shining, yes, one of my top favorite movies of all time, and it's been that way since I saw it originally in the theater, and that has not changed. But I want to throw it out there. I mentioned before that I was listening to the audiobook. This is maybe my second or third time hearing The Shining on audiobook, and I'm throwing it at you, Horror Chat. I want to know which you like better, the movie or the book. And you know, you may go with my theory. I see them as two different entities. I completely understand, always have understood why Kubrick used that as a resource guide. And sometimes that's why I find myself listening to it, to get more insight into the Overlook more than anything else. But I definitely see how it was more resource material because I'm really fond of the movie. And this is probably because I saw the movie first and went backwards. And moving on, Horror Chat, to your final question about my favorite non-horror, non-science fiction films. Not only do I think that's a great question, that could be, Horror Chat, that could be a whole show. Because I just don't, and you'll see what I mean by my answer. I don't know how easy that is. First of all, let's, get into categories. I deem anything 50 years old or older classic. Because at this point, that's like 1975. So I put that in classic. And You're Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, that's definitely one of my favorite films, but that's actually not on this list. And I kind of broke this list up into categories to make it easier for me to answer this question. I mean, this, I don't know, could even be a whole segment. I could even call it Inside of Dark. Right? But check it out. Dark. New segment? Could be. This is where monster kids ask me, Dark Mark, questions outside of the horror genre. So here, you're going to get some real insight into my head because I broke these into genres. So favorite movies as genres. And we're going to start with war, okay? And I'm going to do a classic and a modern. That's what I'm going to try to do with each category. So war, right? Classic. To Have and Have Not with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, 1944, and that's the film that they met on. I think she was 18, he was 45, but we won't get into that. And honorable mention, it was a toss-up between that and The Longest Day from 1962, Ultimate War movie. Modern, I would say Saving Private Ryan from 1998. And then Westerns, classic from 1966, El Dorado with John Wayne. Modern, I would say The Hateful Eight from 2015. Actually, it's a toss-up between The Hateful Eight and Django Unchained from 2012, both Tarantino films. Next category is drama. For classic, I went with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest from 1975. Modern favorite is The Shawshank Redemption from 1994, although that was kind of a toss-up between Goodfellas from 1990 also. But I am going to put out there a movie if you haven't seen, and it's a foreign film, and I know it was either Best Picture or Best Director. A movie from 1997 called Life is Beautiful. And this was about a Jewish Italian waiter during the very beginning stages of World War II who gets put into a concentration camp with his son and makes his son think that this is all just a game to get the kid through it. What a powerful movie that was. Comedies, this got broken up into a bunch of, from classic, romantic comedy, goofball comedy, and drama comedy. Classic, I go with Laurel and Hardy feature film called Blockheads. Romantic comedy is The Goodbye Girl from 1977, All Day Long. Goofball comedies, favorite Meatballs from 1979. Drama comedy, Broadway Danny Rose, a Woody Allen film from 1984.
This is so elaborate and ridiculous. Horror Chat Matt asked you a simple question. You're giving your memoir on movies. What are you doing? It was a simple question. Horror Chat wanted to know what your favorite movie was of 3 movies outside the horror and science fiction genre. You're boring people.
Final category, action movies. Classic, Dirty Harry from the original Dirty Harry from 1971, and in modern, probably Raiders of the Lost Ark. Spielberg took this old chapter play idea and just, wow, what a movie he made. And I think that, I don't know, does that sum it up, Horror Chat? Kara seems to think it's elaborate. What do the Monster Kids think? Did I go too far? Did I reveal too much? Did I lose my Monster Kid card?
4, 3, 2, 1. Earth below us, drifting, falling, floating, weightless, calling,
this event. Closest you'll get.
crazy. Well, that's how it goes. Millions of people
The Wizard of Oz. Cobwebbed Classics.
Welcome to Cobwebbed Classics, where I dust off a lost, forgotten, or just plain unappreciated film and introduce it to, or maybe just remind you about it, so your spooky Saturday night might run a little creepier. This week's Cobwebbed Classic is Hammer Films' production Vampire Circus from 1972. A lot has changed since the release of Horror of Dracula in 1958. The basic vampire story had run thin with most viewers. Hammer was now consistently looking for new ways to tell their tales of gothic horror. Plus, they were now competing with a very risque Hollywood. So along comes Vampire Circus, directed by Robert Young. Set in the year 1825, a mysterious circus sets up shop in a Serbian village cut off from the rest of the world by plague. But as young children begin to disappear, all eyes turn to the traveling circus. This is one of my favorite Hammer vampire offshoots, full of very intriguing characters. What better way for a vampire to travel from town to town than with a circus? Vampire Circus from 1972, a Hammer Film Productions. Dark Mark highly recommends.
Is this something you could share with the rest of us, Amazing Larry?
Greetings, Dark Mark and Karis Little Mummy. Scary Larry here. And true to form, I am here to list the 10 worst horror movies I had to sit through during my decade-long horror movie marathon. Remember, horror kiddos, the year I state is the year I first watched it. 2014, Bad Milo. Man contends with a killer polyp that emerges from his buttocks. 2015, The Babadook. I found myself rooting for the mom to beat the crap out of the obnoxious kid. 2016, 13 Cameras. Evil Landlord with spy cameras. 2017, Range 15. Was rather hyped for this veteran-made zombie flick. Highly disappointed. 2018, Hereditary. Not scary in my opinion. 2019, Pet Sematary, the remake. Some things should not be remade. 2020, Anna and the Apocalypse. Such potential. A musical zombie fest. Another letdown. 2021, Wolf Cop. Title alone says it all. 2022, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Never a good sign when 5 minutes in and I'm cheering for everyone to be murdered in the most gruesome fashion. 2023, Exorcist Believer. Another useless reboot. Do not recommend any of these movies. Good luck in your choices. Talk to you next week.
Okay, Scary, so 6 of these I've never seen. 3 of these I actually like, and 1 I did not like at all. So let's start with Bad Milo. I have never seen this, but I'm telling you right now, just looking at that poster, it's a hard pass. The Babadook? I did not see this when it first came out, and I thought I might have talked about it on the show. I really liked that movie. I enjoyed it. 13 Cameras, I've never seen. Range 15, I have not seen. Hereditary? Larry. This is the movie I think when Macabre Theater first started, I went on and on about. And how foreboding it was and all these feelings. But I'm just surprised that you didn't care for this movie. Pet Sematary, I can't even talk about. All I heard was all this hype. That movie was awful. Again, you're right. Some things just should not be remade. Hannah and the Apocalypse, no, never seen it. Wolf Cop, title alone, I would not even bother. Bodies, 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 know very little about it. I think Chicago Tina raved about it, but I'm not 100% sure. And Exorcist Believer. Now, Scary, I'm pretty sure on this show you gave that a good review and you liked that movie. I liked it. I mean, it wasn't knocking any walls down with greatness, but I liked it. This was a neat thing you did over the last couple of episodes, Scary. I like it. And now I actually have like a little checklist of stay away from films because you've seen them, so we didn't have to.
The Marmaduke? You mean they made a movie about the dog cartoon? The Marmaduke?
Babadook, Karis. Babadook.
Oh.
I just wanna walk right out of this world, 'cause everybody has a poison heart. I just wanna walk right out of this world, 'cause everybody has a poison heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is definitely a public service announcement.
Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus.
They say dress for success, and, well, I agree. But what better way to show who you really are than with horror merch? You could sport your very own Macabre Cast t-shirt, or maybe Baby It's Cold Outside. Then snag a Macabre Cast beanie. Look how much cooler Grim Kim looks. And her head is warm too. T-shirts $13, beanies $25. Both prices include your shipping. I wonder if Grim Kim has stumbled upon The Sentinel from 1977, because that's airing on Shudder now. And, well, she loves those 70s horror. And this is truly an all-star cast. Ava Gardner, Burgess Meredith, John Carradine, who never speaks a word in it, if I recall, but is the creepiest he's ever looked. Christopher Walken, before anybody thought he was weird. Jeff Goldblum, it's about a year before his remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And Beverly D'Angelo, the one that plays Clark Griswold's wife in Christmas Vacation and the Vacation movies, who basically decides to put on a self-massage show for the main character during a visit. What would Clark Griswold say if he saw her doing that?
She's history. And obviously she doesn't wear underwear. And there are plenty of shopping days left until adulthood.
Self-massage? Self-massage?
I was being discreet, Karis. Drop it.
Hello, Dark Mark. Hello, Karis. How are you guys? Hello, Monster Kids. I just said, I need to shoot Mark a message and tell him that this is a crazy, crazy whirlwind week, and I'm going to have to just forgo a message. And then in the same breath, I said, well, Kim, just send him a message. Because I saw a movie, and we've been on this kick with Dario Argento and Fulci movies, and I saw another one, and it's called Don't Torture a Duckling, and I think it's from 1971, and it's overdubbed. It was a great story. It really, really held up. Like the storyline, made sense, and you were invested in the mystery of who is unfortunately killing some of the children in the Italian mountaintop village. And, it just had all the retro elements I love about the 60s, 70s movies. And, there's always this extra overlayer of eroticism, and it's just fantastic. Anyway, it was really, really good. The ending had this scene, and it was gruesome, and it was you could tell, obviously, it was just special effects or low, let's say old school special effects. But I've really come to appreciate that the more and more I see these really old movies in these different veins we've been talking about. So I just wanted to mention that to you. Grim Twin had volunteered to leave a message about a recommendation she had. But then she left before me and Mom were done with Scrabble to leave the message, because I don't blame her. It was a 2-hour game. It's its own kind of hell when you're knee deep in a game of Scrabble. Sometimes. Let's put it that way. And you know what? I'm so lucky to be able to play Scrabble with my soon-to-be 85-year-old mother. I do cherish it. At any rate, I hope you guys have a great, great week. I just found out today I'll be leaving my little beach, my little place by the sea sooner than I thought. And Mark will agree. Larry's my age too. Sometimes there are things more important than living by the sea. And isn't that bittersweet to even say that? But I was just talking about my mom, and I'll be a little closer down to her, and it's a lovely opportunity in many ways. So it's just kind of a whirlwind. If I can leave one bit of advice for everybody, no matter what it says, don't use the Dollar Tree vinyl squares or wallpaper squares on anything, including a piece of hardwood furniture, because guess how I'm spending my morning right now. So anyway, please wish me well as I transition into my next little nest, and I'll tell you more about it. It has an interesting backstory. A couple interesting backstories I'll tell you about some other time. All right, you guys enjoy today, and until we meet again, bye for now.
Well, I'm sure I can speak for not only the Drac Pack, but all of the Monster Kids, wishing you the best on your new adventure. Family first, Grim. Family first.
Horrible, horrible, mention.
Today's horrible mention is House 2, the second story, 1987, PG-13. I remember sitting in the theater for this poo parade, feeling like I had just had a shot of Novocaine. Gone was the massively clever film originally created by the Friday the 13th team, Sean S. Cunningham and Steve Miner. Instead, we had another owner of a sinister house getting all up in reanimated corpses and demons searching for an ancient Aztec skull. I know, Monster Kids, the unwary are saying, "Hey, Dark, that sounds cool." To coin a phrase from Scary Larry, this was Goosebumps before Goosebumps. And now Monster Kids are saying, "But Dark, don't you like children's horror?" Yes, I do. But here's a time and it has a place. and its place wasn't with House and what Cunningham had created.
Horrible mention.
So, Laura Horror and I venture out to the theaters this past week, and after getting our large popcorn to share and my large cherry icy, we settle down to see Stephen King's The Monkey, based on a short story from the book Skeleton Crew, directed by Norman Bates' kid, Osgood Perkins, and produced by James Wan. This story is about a monkey, and don't dare call it a toy. When you turn the key, it kills. You can wish it to kill a specific person, but it doesn't work that way. It kills at random. And when I say kills, I mean someone dies horrifically by what would normally look to others as an accident. When it's left to two twin brothers by their now deceased father, it devastatingly becomes one of the reasons the brothers fall away from each other. This film is the perfect mix of comedy and horror. Everybody dies, and that's life. And when you have Osgood Perkins, Stephen King, and James Wan portraying this on the big screen, it can hit you harder than you expect. A solid punch, so to speak. I have no desire to spoil any of this for the people who have never read the short story. It's wonderful acting and perfectly executed. I loved this movie. Dark Mark highly recommends. Nothing stays the same, and unfortunately, nothing lasts forever. And as Stephen King so heavy-handedly pointed out, everybody dies. That's life. Young children, physically fit, 30-year-olds, rich, poor, fat, thin. It's hard as those fall around us, not to wonder, why am I still here? It keeps me going to think that there is a reason. While some shout, no, it's only coincidence, I hope that it's not. I hope we all have a reason, even if that reason was to elate the sad, inspire strength to the weak, or give hope to the hopeless. Many days end and I feel I'm here, but did I do enough? What more could I do? Have I done anything? Remember, be good to yourself. This is Dark Mark, signing off. See you soon. I hope.
This is a Macabre Theater production. Macabre Test.